We'll get started maybe a couple minutes late, give people a chance to get here. The good news is it's being recorded, so I'm going to be sending it out to all the classes, and so anything we miss, or you don't have to worry about taking notes too much, unless you want a shortcut. It takes a while to view it in its entirety again, but so you can still take notes if you want, but it's all going to be available. Few more seconds. Maybe one more person will join us. Okay, so let's get started. If you guys have any questions, save them for afterwards. Jot them down so that you don't forget to ask them. But hopefully, as I go through this presentation, I'll be answering quite a few of your questions as we go along. Usually I find out, actually always, I find out that the vast majority of the students who come into my English 1A classes have never written an essay like this before. It doesn't matter if you're in a really good high school program. Usually in good high school programs, they still have you writing about literature. This is what's called an expository essay, and it's a reading-based argument essay. So a lot of the different features of it are very tricky to manipulate if you haven't done it before. So that's why it's really, really important that you utilize the resources that I have on the website, especially since this is an online class and we're not doing a lot of in-class instruction. Of course, if as you're going along you need any one-on-one work, it's always available to you. You can always let me know. We can always set up a Zoom. If you're having trouble with any particular aspect of it, just let me know and I can help you get going with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you so I can go through some of the resources that we have available for you. Okay, just looking through the course modules here, you can see that we've got the essay thesis statement. I'm going to be going over that one. And then we're getting into the MLA section, Modern Languages Association. That's what MLA stands for. We've been doing up to this point with the summary. We did MLA formatting. But now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the internal citation method. So you really need to be learning how to use that citation method. And the different resources that you have here are going to help you to do that. It's really rather elegant and simple. It's, just a few details that you have to learn. And once you learn those details, then you can very easily cite your sources. But what it does allow us to do is to not always have to use the patterns that we've been working with unless we want to. Unless you really want to introduce the author and the source, either an essay or a book-length thing, then you can just cite your source. Or you can, introduce the author only and then cite the source and not mention the title of something. So it gives you a lot of more flexibility in terms of how you're going to introduce your source work. And of course, we know from viewing all the different resources that I have for you, you're going to be working a lot with that because this is a reading-based argument essay. You need to, in each paragraph, you're going to need to use at least 2 or 3 different sources from different places, different authors to support the points that you want to make in each paragraph. And in order to do that, you're going to need to be able to cite your sources and all of that. If you don't do the internal citation or if you don't do the works cited page, then you're liable to get it back and or get a bad grade on it. I might allow you to add the citations to it, but if you're not doing even citations, then that's really not a good sign in terms of the other things that you're paying attention to as well. So this is the citation section, MLA section, and then these other sections I'm going to go through point by point. The essay prompt, that's what we call the prompt, is the assignment page. Now the assignment page is a really important page for you guys to get good at manipulating and reading and following, because if you don't do the assignment, if you don't do what's required in the assignment, then you're not going to learn, you're not going to make progress, you're not going to get a good grade, all of those things. So you really need to focus in on all the different features that are on this particular page and make sure that you're following it. And so what I do is I give you this early on so that before you do all of these readings, you can be focused in on exactly what you need to be doing, and then you're going to have a much better idea for how you want to annotate and the topics that you might want to pursue and what you're going to need to do once you get to the final draft or the rough draft, or once you start working on your essay. So review this. I know that you probably read it when I first introduced it way back when we first started this unit, but review it again because it's been quite a while since we did it, so that you make sure that you're aware of what's exactly required for this. Now, one of the things that's required is you need to have a thesis statement. So this is in the element on the course modules right at the end of week number 7, right here, discussion post the thesis statement. So your thesis statement is a statement of your main claim. Like what we spotted in the summary, Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s summary of liberalism, heart and spine, his main claim was that liberals are weak and they don't stand up for things that are important that they should be standing up for. Well, in the same way, you're going to need to have an argument for your essay, and you may need to make sure that your essay, your thesis statement is not based on the high school model that they used to have you teach. It's a formula that is very restrictive, but it allows you to organize things. So they didn't really know how to get you to write an argument. And so what they would do is in the thesis statement, the position, they would say, what I want you to do is in your thesis statement, say, I'm going to do 3 things, 1, 2, and 3. You state those 3 things. And then in your first paragraph, you do the first thing. The second paragraph, you do the second thing. And the third paragraph, you do the third thing. And then in your conclusion, you sort of summarize what you did in the 3 paragraphs. And that's what's called the 5-paragraph essay. The problem with it is that it doesn't give you a chance to write an argument and to build an argument with topic sentences and convincing support. All it does is state what you plan to do. And then it really lends itself to some kind of a report on something. So we're not going to be working with that particular issue. Now, I have under here what not to do in thesis statements. And one of the things I have in here is don't do the 5-paragraph essay model, which is the third bullet down here. But it should not be a solution-based. It should be a statement of a problem. Cannot be a simple statement of fact. It's got to be something that's worthy of argumenting about. Don't put a list of your topics in your thesis statement. That's the 5-paragraph essay model. Do not put one of your topics in your thesis statement, because if you put one topic in a thesis statement, you have to write your whole essay just on that one topic. You need to broaden out your thesis statement so it includes, it can include all the different topics that you're going to be bringing in. Don't have your thesis statement in the form of a question. It's got to be an affirmative argument. And don't bring in a source in your thesis statement position, because it's got to be an affirmative statement of your own. All of those different things are things that people have problems with, and I've, over a period of time, I've spotted them. So I try to head that off by putting, what not to do in. I don't like to be real negative, but those things are, if you focus in on those, then you're going to have a better chance for, what to do. The other thing is that I've made this discussion post on thesis statements, so get those in as soon as you can, because I'll be responding to. As soon as you get them in, then that's the first thing I look for, is in my list of things to do is thesis statements. So I can get back to you right away to let you know if you're doing the right thing on thesis statements, if you're headed in the right direction. Any questions on thesis statements? No? Okay. So then I've got another resource that's really good that I call must watch, to try and get people's attention to it, on possible topics for your education essay. Now, these are suggested topics for you. And I suggest these because they support this topic on corporate control of the educational system to meet their own needs, rather than to meet the needs of the students. And a lot of what we've been reading lends itself to that. And a lot of your discussions show me that you're, on board with that particular aspect of it, because I haven't seen a lot of people who are disagreeing with the reading that we've got. Of course, it's perfectly okay for you not to agree with something that we're reading, or with, my suggested topics, or with my suggested thesis. You can pursue your own, whatever you want to do in terms of your own argument. But what I've been seeing is that a lot of people are agreeing with that. And so I say, this is a topic sentence that's a possible formula: corporations plus education plus whatever your topic is, like funding, plus your opinion. And so an example of that: corporations and the rich control funding in schools so that their children get the lion's share of the resources, and the other 99% of the kids, including the poor and children of color, get what's left over. That would be a great topic sentence for corporate control. If corporate control of the educational system is going to be your thesis, and you write a thesis statement on that particular issue, then this would be an example of how you could use funding. Then you'd put corporations and classroom control the curriculum. So with this, you want to make sure that you're using good sentence focus, which means that you're going to put corporations up in the front of your sentences, not only in your thesis statement, but in all of your different topic sentences. Now, you need to have a certain amount of variety. You can't, at the beginning of every topic sentence, say corporations, corporations, corporations. You got to vary it up some. You could use the rich or the wealthy, or you could, just think about different ways that you could vary it so that it's not just sort of clanging in the reader's ears with the same thing over and over and over again. So take a look at these potential topics for you. If you've come up with other topics, that's fine. You just need to make sure that they're supportable from the readings that we've had. You need to get some support in on your topics, and that they make sense, that they actually support your thesis statement. So this is where you're going to be turning in the rough draft. There's a checklist here that is similar to the rubric. So make sure that you're aware of this checklist and that you're following the elements on this checklist, because I kind of turn this checklist into a, it follows very closely to the rubric. And if you're not doing these things on the checklist, then you're not going to get a good score on your essay, and you're not going to make progress, and you're not going to do well. There's a sample of a good education essay here. So if you want to check out what somebody else did, all the different elements that I've been talking about here, there's a good thesis statement here. There's a good, there are good topic sentences. There's good support in here. There's good MLA citation, except I don't see a page number here. There always needs to be a page number with a citation. So that would be an error with this particular one. They're not perfect, but they, and I don't see a citation with this one either. Right in here, there's no citation there, because whenever I see, you know, there's a citation, there always has to be a parentheses at the end. Like this person didn't put in their page numbers. So you got to put in page numbers. If, this gives me a chance to bring this up, if in the reading that we've done, there aren't obvious page numbers, just give your best estimate for it. And you'll see once you get to doing the MLA citation assignment, that there's a particular format that you use to put in quotations. You know, you put the last name and the page number here. So this should have a page number. After Chomsky, there should be just a simple page number, 54, whatever the page number is. But there's a good sample essay there, except for citations, I would have to say. But there are a lot of other good things in that particular one. Now, here's another important resource for you. Now, doing the works cited page is really complicated. There are a lot of details associated with how exactly you list a book, how do you list an essay, where does it come from? Because the thing about MLA citation is that it allows the reader to, based on your internal citation and how it connects up to your works cited page, this reader can go to a library and they can go and they can look up the source material and they can check on your scholarship. They can see whether or not you've misquoted somebody, it's not an exact quote, or you misrepresented somebody, or you've taken something out of context and you said something has this opinion when they actually have an opposite opinion. So you're trying to use somebody for something that they don't actually agree with. So this isn't a really important feature in terms of you know, developing scholarship and make sure that people are on the up and up in terms of what they're doing. So I have this download here so that you can just print up this page and you can staple it, or you can attach it. In this case, we're not going to staple, but you can attach it to the end of your document for your either your rough draft or your, especially on your final draft, I'm going to be looking for it. And these are all of the things that we've read, and they're listed in a way that works. So you don't even have to think about doing your works cited page. I set it up for you, so it's all ready to go. So those are the basic resources that I have for you. I can't think of anything. Here, down here is the rubric that I will be giving points for when you turn in your rough draft. About the rough draft, get me the rough draft as soon as possible, because what I'll do is I give myself 5 days between when you turn in the due date on the rough draft and when the final draft is due. So if you turn in your rough draft close to the due date, then I will have time to grade it, get it back to you with comments on it, so you can utilize what I say before you turn in your final draft. Now, if you turn in that rough draft late, then I may not be able to get to it before the final draft is due. Plus, if you turn it in late, you know, I don't put comments on late submissions. So it's really important that you get your rough draft, even if it isn't completed entirely, get it to me by the due date so that I can put comments on it and that I can help you with. You know, most teachers don't, you know, I don't think that you're going to find in all of your other classes that that teachers are taking on rough drafts and responding to them individually so that I can give you feedback on your rough draft. So that's something that I think that you should really take advantage of. Anything else? Any questions or any of these resources that you have any questions on?
No.
No.
Is that okay then? Are we all good?
Yeah. I had a question about, you said we could use our discussion, some of our discussion
Yeah,
posts in there.
you sure
So,
can. You know, some of you have been writing really, really good discussions on particular topics. So if you wrote something that you really liked, then you know, I'm not going to, you know, it's not plagiarism for you to take your own writing. It's your own writing. So pull out whatever you want. You're just going to need to make sure it's got a good topic sentence, right? Because with discussions, we're not doing that. And make sure that it's got, maybe add some support to it, so it's got sufficient support in it. A lot of your discussions, they've been, you know, you've had 2 or 3 different sources of support in them. So, I mean, some of them would be, just with a few tweaks, would be just fine for any particular topic. Good question. Glad you brought that up. Anything else? No? Okay, so that's it then. I'm glad you guys could come. And like I said, as soon as they make this available to me, probably in a matter of about half an hour or so, I'll be sending this out to all of the classes so that everybody will have it. Okay.
and I just
Okay.
have to say,
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.